Hello everybody, this is Dee from Dee's Cute and Crafty, and we're going to make two signs today. So starting out with the first one, you're going to need two of these happy haunting boxes from the Dollar Tree. You're going to need some of those Dollar Tree pine cones and little pumpkins, a Dollar Tree wood truck. You're going to need some of this Dollar Tree vinyl, wood look vinyl, and some of the Dollar Tree window clings. And I have an old Dollar Tree sign, well, it's not that old, but it looks terrible, that I pulled the paper off of because I want to use it. So we're just going to get these open and we're going to break them apart. It's not that difficult. I started off by breaking off each end and then spreading the box out, picking off that little wood block. We're going to keep that because that works really well as like a tumbling tower block when you want to hold a sign up. So keep that. And we're taking off these really cute side pieces that have that black buffalo check on there. Just trimming down any of that glue that's standing up. Get that all cleaned off. We're going to keep this piece and set it to the side because, of course, you know we can use that for something else. And then you're going to do the other box the same way. You're going to break it open and trim it down. And then we're going to do miter cuts on all of the pieces, on all of the corners. Setting that aside, we are going to start out getting our truck painted. But you guys, I'm not going to use my paint today. I'm going to use my markers. I have a ton of colored permanent markers, and I thought, let's just try this. We paint everything all the time. And today I just didn't feel like dragging out the paint. So we're going to pull those markers out. They absorb into that natural wood amazingly. I love the look of it. I also have some of the furniture markers, and this is what it looks like all done. I am going to go back, that I didn't do it on camera, but I am going to go back and lighten up those, what is it called, fenders on that truck because they were a little darker than I liked. So I did go in with some of my, I think the silver lining chalk paint, and I repainted those fenders. I did actually break out the paint, but everything else is just the permanent markers. So now I'm using that sign that I had, and it was so easy to peel that picture off of there. It was kind of a thick coating paper, so it was easy to pull that off. And now I'm just going to go in with my faux wood look vinyl wallpaper, cut it out to size, and just get it on there. I didn't use any glue. It has its own adhesive, and I find that it works really well. If you push it down really good, I have had no problems with it. We're going to put a frame around it anyway, so that's also going to help adhere it to that piece of wood, that piece of MDF. I left the little jute cord on there because we're going to use it to hang it, so it was perfect. Didn't even have to pull that off. So look at how cute this is with those buffalo check pieces of MDF, making a frame with it. So cute. I love it, love it, love it, and I hope you do too. I did end up going in with a little bit of the Dollar Tree spackle on each corner of the frame where I joined them together. I put a little bit of spackle in there just because I didn't like how they looked. I could see some of the wood where the paper had started to peel. So I just went in with some, it peeled when I cut it. So I just went in with some spackle and fixed that right up. You can hardly even tell. And it adds to it, I think. I think it looks more rustic when you got little pieces chipped off here and there. So we're just gluing down the truck. And I went ahead and cut out some of the words that I wanted from my clings. And I'm just going to get the clings glued down on here as well. And you guys, oh my gosh, epic fail. I used the Elmer's wood glue in purple because I felt like, okay, this is going to dry white, right? It really didn't. It really didn't. So I ended up peeling all of that off, Thank goodness I'm using vinyl clings or window clings, and I'm using that vinyl wood look because they peeled up pretty good, and I was able to clean that off because of the type of surface that it was. So I just took a baby wipe and I wiped all the purple off of everything, off of the truck, off of the back of the clings, the whole deal. And then I ended up going back in with some white glue. Now I'm going in and I'm going to glue down some extra little pumpkins along with the pumpkins that were already in the back of the truck, just to give it a really cute three-dimensional look. I'm also going to be adding in some reindeer moss, and the reindeer moss is the lighter green, more flexible moss. It's not dried out and brown like the Spanish moss. I actually really wanted the Spanish moss, but I don't have any. I can't believe I don't have any. I thought I had tons of it, but I can't find it anywhere. So I just used the reindeer moss, and I didn't do that on camera. You'll see it's already on there. I'm showing you the moss, but I didn't film putting it on the truck and in between the pumpkins. So I just went ahead and made a little bow with some burlap and some of the orange and natural jute. You can see where I added the moss in between the pumpkins. And I'm just going to add that bow in the corner. You guys know I can't do anything without adding a bow. Everything should have a bow, right? And on this finished product, you can see where I went back in with that silver lining and redid those fenders. We're going to call this one done. How cute is that? I love it. On to DIY number 2. For this DIY, you're going to need 2 of the 8x10 Dollar Tree canvases. You're going to need 4 of the jumbo craft sticks. I get these at Walmart. You are also going to need 4 of the paint stir sticks. You're going to need some wood glue, some hot glue, staples. If you have the big staple gun, that would be nice. And I'm going to also be using my Waverly Antique Wax to stain all my wood pieces. So I'm just going to remove the canvas. I did not do it on camera. You know how removing that canvas is horrible. It's not easy. I wanted all the staples out. So I just went off camera and I removed the canvas from the wood. So I cut down my jumbo craft sticks at an angle and mitered the ends of all 4 for a wood look that I want in the corner of this project. After I mark it off with my pencil, it's really easy to just go in with your scissors and make those angle cuts. So after you do one, you can just take that one that you've already cut and measure out your other 3. And now you can see that I've removed all the staples. I used the staple remover, and well, not all of them, the ones that I did not want. The ones in the corner we kept because it's holding it together. I removed all the unwanted staples and, of course, the canvas, and I did save the canvas for another project that will be coming up. And one of the frames I cut a little bit smaller than the other. The other I left it the size it was, and then the second frame I cut a little bit off of it because it was going to be bigger than I wanted for this project, if that makes any sense at all. I hope it does. So we're going in with the Waverly Antique Wax, and we're staining all of the wood pieces. I'm just using a baby wipe and wiping them down. I love doing it this way. I know you can brush it on with the brush and then wipe it off, but I'm just saving myself a step and just wiping it to begin with. And I love using the baby wipe because after a while it absorbs the stain. And when you get to parts of your project that doesn't seem like you have enough stain, you can just squeeze that baby wipe and you'll get more stain out of it. So I love using it that way instead of wiping it off after brushing it on. It really just saves a step. And now here you see I have 3 different size hoops, rings, wreaths, whatever you want to call them. I sit down sometimes when I'm watching TV and I take my little metal rings from Dollar Tree. I have bits and pieces and scraps of different wreaths I've cut apart, and I wrap them. I just sit and I wrap them while I'm watching TV, and I put them away for another day. And today is another day. So I'm just pulling out one of my wreaths. I wrap them in twine. I wrap them in ribbon. I wrap them in that straw hat material, just whatever I have, and I keep them on hand that way. So we're going to take the medium-sized one, I believe. Yes, the medium-sized one. And we're just going to get that wreath decorated with lots of florals. I have some foxtail. I have some pomegranate. I have some of the little flowers. I think they're called verbenum. I'm not sure, but they look like little orange wildflowers. I have some of this chocolatey color hops. All of this came from Dollar Tree, and I'll be using that for my wreath. And I also have one of the metal harvest words, come in a 3-pack of harvest, thankful, and welcome, maybe. I'm not sure, but they're all from Dollar Tree. You get 3 in a pack. And I'm going to be using some of this silver paddle wire to adhere all of my greenery and my word to my wreath. Now I'm just securing it in the back, giving it a good twist after I've wrapped it in and through the opening of that letter. On the end, I just wrapped it in and through, and ended up in the back, and then twisted the two pieces together, and I'm cutting off the part that I don't need. Again, you guys, thank you so much for clicking on this video. It really helps my channel grow. I appreciate you being here. It's such a blessing to be able to come on here and do what you love to do and have other people enjoy it and love it too. So if you're new here, please consider subscribing. Give this video a big fat thumbs up. It helps YouTube push me out. My channel grows. And if you've been here before, thank you so much for coming back. I love and appreciate you too. And now that I have my metal word secured in the middle of that wreath, we're going to start going around the end or the edge of that wreath with my greenery. And I just want it along the edges of the word on either side. So we're going to start tucking that in, and we're going to get it secured with some of that paddle wire. And then we'll move on to the next part of this wall hanging. Now I'm going back in and I'm trimming up all of the stems of the florals that are sticking out a little more than I would like. We are going to put a bow on this, you guys. You know we have to. So now I set that part aside. We are coming back to that bow. I'm going to go ahead and get this frame glued and stapled and hot glued together. Wood glue, hot glue, and staples. We're going to make sure this holds up really well because I want to use this in my home for years to come. So we're going to make sure it's really sturdy. So if you guys can see the frame where I was trying to explain, one of them I left the size that it was when I took it apart. You have to take out the middle piece in order to not have that bar when you put the pieces together. So when I took out one edge on each of the frames, I cut one of the frames a little smaller because I didn't want my square to be as big as it was. So I cut it down just a little bit in the middle so that when I joined it together, I got the size that I wanted. So now I've added my staples to the front and the back of each place where I added glue and wood glue. I also added staples right there to join it together. And now we're going in with our paint stir sticks that we stained with the antique wax, and we're going to line them up the way we want them. The end pieces are going to be a little bit smaller, and then when you get to the middle pieces, I've spaced them out a little wider. You'll see what I'm doing. They're not evenly spaced. The pieces in the middle are even, and the pieces on the outer ends are even. Now that I've got my pieces spaced out to what looks good to my eye, I'm going to go ahead and add a little bit of hot glue at each end and a little bit of wood glue at each end and get these secured down. And I am going to go back in and staple these as well. Here I'm just showing you that I did staple top and bottom of each of those wood stir sticks. And now we're going to flip it over because this is the front. And we're going to go in with the baby wipe and clean off that wood glue that kind of spilled out or seeped out from underneath. We're going to get rid of that. Now we're ready to place those decorative corner pieces on that we made from our jumbo craft sticks. And these were not going to adhere with the staples because that wood is so thin, the craft wood, the craft stick wood, oh my gosh, is so thin that if you try to staple it, it's just going to split. So we're just going to use some wood glue and some hot glue, and that'll get it down really good for us. We won't need to use the staples. I love the look of this frame, you guys. It is so pretty. Now we're going to get our wreath placed in the center, get our bow on, and call it done. So I'm just looking at where and how I want it to sit before I add any glue. We're going to add a lot of glue to make this sit down. I'm going to push it down in that frame and glue it really well. All right, you guys, bow making time. I have this really pretty fall festive leaf fabric with this, I don't know, they got blues and orange and cream and a rust color to it. I picked this up at Joann's, and they're having their sale right now, like 40% off and 70% off of some of their summer stuff, but their fall ribbons and florals, they're 40% off right now. So you might want to go check Joann Fabrics out if you have one in your area, because they have some really nice florals right now. Also going to be using some of the burlap look ribbon from Dollar Tree. It actually might really be burlap ribbon. It is. It's wired burlap ribbon. And that I got from Dollar Tree a while back. It's not new, but it is perfect for this DIY. So I made my loops and I made my tails and I dovetailed them, and we're just going to pinch it all together and secure it with some jute and get it glued to our wreath. And it's going to be so cute. I love this one. I love all of them. You guys know I do. But this is really cute. And now we're just going to secure that bow with some hot glue. Trim up my ends a little bit, and we'll be done. So pretty, you guys. Love it, love it, love it. Now, let's do the final reveal.